Welcome to the Game Week 3 episode of Stick to FPL, the Premier Fantasy League podcast.
We are going to be talking about the success of the Haaland triple captaincy.
We're going to be having a look at who you should be selling and who you should be keeping.
We're going to talk about the best options to replace all these players we want to get rid of.
We'll see which teams have secret defensive issues that you might need to address.
We're going to talk about those pesky Chelsea picks that somehow need to get into our teams.
And are you thinking about wildcarding? We've got your back.
And most importantly, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, Twitter like, Snapchat like, wherever you can listen to us, like us, because that really helps us out. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go. Right, Haaland, triple captain. That worked. That worked pretty well.
Listen, I hate to say I told you so.
You love to say you told us so. I mean, let's be honest.
My favorite phrase in the English language.
Yeah.
But look, it went a little bit better than expected. I was happy at 2 goals. But I mean, that triple captain, it just felt like he was destined for greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked good, and we called it and we spoke about it last week. And you know what? I mean, don't want to go back to the data stuff too much, but the data very much supported that. We mentioned that it was the best single game week opportunity for a captain for the entire season, according to the Fantasy Football Hub predicted points. So they've absolutely nailed that, to be fair. Again, after nailing game week 1, now they've nailed this prediction of Haaland smashing it in game week 2 as well. So I think the robots may be taking over, and I think we do need to take some influence from the algorithms, such as the one Hub provides. It's all based on data, Sim.
I was 2 months ahead.
You're
2 months ahead.
You think
of
you
the
know?
game.
You think you know
the
more
AI?
about
The AI thought it was clever before the AI even knew what the data was.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
like, game week 1, game week 2, triple captain.
But it's all well and good, like being like 2 months ahead of game week 2. Like, it's not that useful 2 months ahead. As long as you know before the game week 2 deadline, you're fine. 10 minutes before the deadline, 2 months before the deadline, it's kind of the same outcome.
I will give you this. I am every game week slightly more convinced that data makes sense.
I think by the end of this season,
we'll see. And
we're going to convince you.
I hope anyone else who watched the show really considered it.
But yes, guys, make sure you do check out Fantasy Football Hub. Link in the description everywhere for you guys to get 50% off your membership right now. And you can be involved with all of the predicted points to predict when the next best captain opportunity is. Triple captain. By the way, do you know when the next best triple captain opportunity is?
I've heard a few murmurings.
Yeah?
If memory serves me right, Haaland plays Everton or Southampton in 33, which could be a double.
That is very, very true if you're looking for doubles. But if you're looking for a single game week, the next big single game week opportunity is Southampton at home in game week 9. So,
Haaland.
Yeah. Haaland against Southampton in game week 9. So, if anyone did miss out on the big haul from game week 2, don't worry. There's another opportunity coming. Haaland's going to do another hat trick.
I'm not backing that one.
No, well, you don't have your triple captain anymore, so you can't. And you know what? He may would score 4.
Imagine.
And then we'll be laughing at the triple captains from game week 2. But right now, like, honestly, anyone who triple captained Haaland, like, let us know in the comments or whatever. Congratulations. Flex that, because you went big. Fair play, guys. Fair play. But we have got loads more to talk about, to be fair, in the show. And I think we'll next talk about players being sold, because it seems to be a big week for selling players.
The market right now,
It's crazy.
it is a bear market. It's a bear market. Nobody wants to buy anyone in specific, but everybody wants to sell everyone that people like.
It's a seller's market.
No, it's a buyer's market.
I don't really know how it works in FPL terminology, to be honest. But already we're seeing hundreds of thousands of transfers out for so many players. And like the deadline is still days away. It's absolutely crazy. So I've got on screen for the video watchers, we'll talk about it for the audio listeners, what we are seeing for the most sold players. Number 1 most sold player is Alexander Isak. What is going on there?
I get it.
You get it?
I really get it. It's annoying, right? I mean, I own both of the top 2 most sold players, Isak and Solanke.
Okay.
One of them apparently is just elite at dodging price drops. He's just not dropped in price.
Oh,
despite,
Solanke, yeah, how is
despite
he still
having
7.5?
huge sells for the last like 5-6 days now. But Isak is interesting. I kind of get why people want to sell. He's had a 5-pointer in a game where, understandably, they had a red card, and then he's blanked in a game where we really thought they would perform a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's harsh to judge Isak on the first game week.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. The second game week against Bournemouth was just the better team by far. They really, really were.
But they shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't be. And we're going to talk more in detail about Newcastle, in particular their defence, later on in the pod. But what really disappointed me with Isak in game week 2, he didn't really look that close to scoring. So he managed 5 shots, but all from very low quality opportunities, and only managed 0.26 XG in game week 2. You expect a lot more from him. And his numbers last season were way higher than that. Every single game. It's very rare. But are we judging him too early?
Well, so there's a couple of things that I want to mention here, right? Number one, Newcastle are notoriously shocking away from home.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
that's fair.
Last season, they were always really... It's the reason why they didn't do well in the league at the end of the day. They're brilliant at home and they're just shocking away from home. But the second reason is Newcastle significantly regressed last season when their defense took structural hits.
Yeah.
And that's happening again. They've got Kelly playing centre-back and Dan Burn back at left-back. No Share.
Yeah.
No Botman still, obviously.
Yeah,
no
Botman's still out.
So that back four is like really poor. So then their stability and their base and their core is broken at the moment. So like I understand people are selling him because he got low points.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
That's why he's
nobody's
being sold.
saying there's structural problems at Newcastle. I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
but that I can understand the idea. I could get behind it. But right now there's so many more high priority problems that I know
completely agree.
that I know is in everyone's team who owns Isak.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not for me. I would only be selling on a wild card, I think.
Fair enough. I mean, I do understand why people are selling, and the data does, to a degree, back it up. But there's not enough of a sample size here for me, really, to justify selling him. Ultimately, he is the most popular FPL asset in the game. He's the most owned player. So even though he is the most sold player, when you compare that to his ownership anyway, maybe it's actually not that high, you know, per capita, sales per capita, if that makes sense in the FPL world. Okay, fair enough. Solanke makes a lot more sense.
Solanke does make sense, but I will get to Solanke later. But like Solanke, I've got him in my team. I didn't sell him before the deadline last game week. A lot of people did for Muniz. I didn't like that move. I still don't like selling him now.
No?
I'm going to most likely roll through it, and I'm just going to stomach whatever
Okay,
price
so
drop happens.
he doesn't play in Game Week 3, for example. And I think that's a very good chance he doesn't play in Game Week 3.
I don't think... Okay, let's assume so.
Because Ange Postecoglou kind of mentioned, you know, the international break as a potential opportunity for him to recover. And that's against Newcastle, by the way. So, you know, decent fixture, not just for Isak, but also for Solanke, if he was to play, because both of those defences are in tatters right now. I can't lie. But after that, Solanke, after the international break, plays against Arsenal. And is he going to...
Yeah.
What are we expecting from that, really?
Well, you can't really call the North London derby, right?
No.
It's a high octane game. Like for me, my problem isn't that I love Solanke. It's that I don't love any of his replacements.
I think that's a really, really good point. We are going to get onto that later. So we'll maybe park that one for now. Going down the list of most sold players, we have Foden next. I mean, like, he was ill for the week. What are you going to do? It's just bad luck for owners. Like, I think, again, it's people are selling him because he didn't score any points, not because he's a bad FPL asset.
Yeah. But Foden's another problem, right? Like, with Pep teams, this isn't like, Foden will just walk back in.
Pep will.
No, that's not how it works with Pep. Pep will... Listen, I told you, me and Pep, I understand his bald head, okay? I understand the man. Pep does this thing where his ideology, like, progresses. It's not just a team and a shape and personnel. It's an ideology, yeah? And right now, his ideology includes 2 wide wingers and a diamond midfield. And where does Phil Foden fit into that?
That's a fair point, but Pep's ideology changes like the wind. He can put out a very different system.
Only when it's not working.
Or if the opposition, if there's a different opposition, it's a tactical matchup, right?
If there's a different tactical question, you're right. He does do that. But like right now, it's KDB in the 10. It's Rico Lewis as an 8, and then Bernardo as the other 8, and then Kovacic. That Kovacic role, Rodri will walk back into.
Yeah.
But then you have Doku and Slovenia playing really well, really wide, really techie dribblers. I don't know how Foden just walks back in, man. I feel like if I had him, I'd be very worried.
I mean, that's fair enough. I can understand why people sell him again. If I was on a wild card, he wouldn't be in it. Yeah. I put it that way.
Yeah. Okay, wait, hold up. No, because I disagree with you there. If you owned Foden and Isak, who would you sell first?
Neither.
You'd keep Foden?
Yeah, I would rather roll a transfer than sell either Isak or Foden. But I'm like a patient guy. And I think like patient managers watching or listening to this podcast today, honestly, I'm coming in hot today. Like you're gonna. I'm very anti-reactionary.
Wow.
And I think it's reactionary to sell Foden. He was ill. What are you gonna do?
No, but that's not. If it was just that, fair enough.
It is just that.
But it's where does he play in the system?
You're telling me that if he'll play, it doesn't matter.
It does matter. Where does he play?
He is one of the best players, not just in the Premier League, in world football.
I don't think Pep believes that.
But based on last season, Foden for the first time comes in and he plays pretty much every game all season, all competitions, because he's rated that highly by Pep now. It took him a few years to get there, but he got there.
He played most of the games because De Bruyne was out. The moment De Bruyne was out, he got booted out of his position. And he got shoehorned into another position. And then Pep tactically changed the team to try to make it work. And he did the whole Gvardiol thing.
Yeah. Why can't that happen again?
Because he doesn't like that Gvardiol thing.
But that won them the Premier League last season.
But they won the Premier League because you lost to Aston Villa.
Yeah, all that. All right, moving on the list, we've got Nkunku. This makes a lot more sense.
I said it last week as well.
Yeah, okay. Big L on that on for me on that one. I think the issue is that Chelsea have so many attackers right now. But we're going to cover that in a little bit more detail later. So I think we'll park Nkunku for now. But I think we all agree that he's probably a priority sell. I've actually already sold him. Spoiler alert.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that later again. Eberechi Eze. Right, listen. What is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas? Why on earth are people selling Eberechi Eze?
Okay, this one I agree with you. You should not be selling Eze.
Mate.
It's 2 blanks, everyone wants to go. But...
Honestly, some of the comments on my YouTube videos this week are like, I'm sick and tired of Eze. He does absolutely nothing. Watch football, guys. What do you mean he does Watch a game of football. I told you I'm coming in hot today. Watch a game of football. You don't even have to watch a game of football. Look at the stats.
You think someone's going to not watch the football and watch stats?
Doesn't matter. Just choose one. Watch the football. Look at the stats. Choose one.
Look, let me try to support the reactionaries of the world at the moment as well.
Go on.
Palace just don't look as good.
No, they don't.
And Eze has had 2 significant moments, one of them from a free kick, one of them from a shot outside the box. That's not the kind of stuff you want from an FPL player.
But you say that. He generated, again, 0.45 XG in Game Week 2. 5 shots, 1 big chance. Obviously, hit the woodwork in that game as well. Obviously, still a penalty taker, still a set-piece taker. You've got all of these avenues to points. He's just been unlucky. And FPL is, in part, a game of luck.
Yeah, no. He will return in the next two game weeks, I'm sure of it.
I'm certain of it.
I would not be selling him.
Everything is pointing the way that Eze is doing brilliantly, and he's just been a little unfortunate. You can't predict good and bad fortune, but what you can predict is results based on what a player is doing. A player who takes 1 shot in the first 2 game weeks and scores a goal from it, there is nothing to back up that they'll do that again. But a player who scores 0 goals, but he was number 1 for shots in game week 1, 5 shots in game week 2, which I believe is like 5th or 6th for the game week again. He has got one of the highest shot volumes in the Premier League. That will be converted into goals. It's a fact.
You feel very passionately about this not selling as a locker.
Because I have him, and I really want him to do well. I know he will do well. And I'm sick and tired of people disrespecting.
You know who would be on this list if he didn't score this weekend?
Who?
Anthony Gordon. I feel like he got away with murder this weekend.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, definitely. If he didn't score, people would be selling him as well. We're going down the list. Barco, obvious sell, but only if you need his slot filling, right?
You shouldn't, right?
I hope not.
Yeah, he's a 4.0.
yeah. But you're not going to have him on a wild card. But if you can just bench him, he's not going to drop in price.
Why
price now.
Why would you not have him on a wild card?
Well, why would I not have a Barco on a wild card?
4.0 does the job.
Yeah, because Wout Fast is going to bang in headers every week. That's why.
He might be banging in goals in Sevilla. Or
yeah, he'll be banging in goals.
He got to Valencia or Sevilla?
Sevilla, and he will not be getting any FPL points for us. But yeah.
The amount of banter they've been putting out, by the way, on that. Have you not seen it?
Yeah.
They're like constantly tweeting about, free transfer made.
Yeah. Honestly, fair play admin.
Like, leave us alone, bro. Type in Spanish. What league is this? Why are you talking to Premier League fans?
They're just like stirring the pot, aren't they? Like all the Barco owners in FPL, like Sevilla admin team are just going in hard on us. But honestly, I rate it. Fair play. Particularly as I don't own Barco, so I can just laugh. But no, I feel sorry for people who went for him. But at least he's price locked. You're not going to have a 3.9 million defender. And were you ever going to play him anyway?
I wanted to play him.
Yeah, me too. But it wasn't to be. Ollie Watkins.
Interesting one. Very interesting one, this one.
He's off it a little bit. A little bit.
2 tough fixtures.
Yeah.
And he just... That finishing from against Arsenal was brutal. It was his header, wasn't it, that was saved?
Yeah.
Which was like,
so he had that big opportunity missed in the first half where he really should have scored.
What was that?
Yeah,
it was
really.
a Morgan Rogers assist as well. I was fuming.
Yeah, last season Watkins would have finished that.
Yeah, and like we used to call him Flopkins a few seasons back, and it just very much reminded me of that way, just flopping his chances.
Well, yeah, prior to last season, he was a career XG underperformer.
Yeah,
so always missed, slightly more chances than the average finisher.
Yeah.
So maybe that's coming back a little bit, but honestly...
What's interesting, though, I'm sure Watkins would be on the transfers in section as well.
Yeah, probably.
Because his fixtures are turning aggressively.
Yeah.
And, would I sell? I don't think so.
Can I just read out the next, next 5 fixtures for Villa? Leicester away, Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away, and then Manchester United at home, which is not too bad either. So that's good. That's good. There is no way I'd sell Watkins right now. No. I think if you have him, you're probably feeling a bit bad because he hasn't scored any FPL points yet. But you're actually ahead of the game in many ways. I would consider Watkins on a wild card if I was on one.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to buy him than sell him.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, if you have Watkins and you're feeling bad and you're thinking about selling him, honestly, I think you can take a lot of positives. A lot of positives. Let's whiz through the rest of the list. Bruno Fernandes, no results so far.
I told you.
What?
It's Bruno. Listen, he's been underperforming like crazy, but it's United.
His numbers are good.
His numbers have always been good. It's Bruno. Like he will deliver you numbers. Like this guy, he's like a math teacher.
Yeah.
He's got numbers on the board.
Mr. XG.
Mr. XG. But man, you can't. It's Bruno. United just weird. Garnacho is the next on the list, right?
Yeah.
And he's one that I really like actually. But he's just not starting for some daft reason.
Yeah, I really expected him to start game week 2.
Yeah.
Don't know why I didn't.
I don't get that.
He's got to come in game week 3, surely.
I mean, he has to.
But it's Liverpool is the fixture. So I understand why people are selling those Manchester United guys. I wonder how the game week 1 reactionary transfers of Mazraoui are now feeling about game week 3 fixtures.
He got an assist last game week.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah.
No, but did he? No. Because that was a clear own goal. How on earth that has been given as a mad goal and a Mazraoui assist is beyond me because it was an own goal.
FPL Towers bought him in for that game.
Yeah, honestly, they're just appeasing the masses who bought Mazraoui. Yeah, fair play. Just, make sure the engagement is still going good for FPL. And after that, Gvardiol, Gordon, They haven't scored that many points. I guess that's why people are selling, but they've been fine. Don't really get that.
Yeah.
We can skip past them. Anderson's an interesting one because people presumably bought him as a Crystal Palace player, and now he's a Fulham player. Again.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. Like he missed. He wasn't likely to start game week 2 anyway. Because he just made a transfer.
Yeah, of course.
But like, if I had him, like 4.5 just does the job. He's likely to come into.
Yeah, you keep him. Fulham play.
Fulham have good fixtures.
Is it Ipswich?
It is Ipswich.
It's, decent fixture. Yeah, no reason to. If he comes back straight into the team, well, not even straight into the team, it would have been a week. Then yeah, that's perfect. That's fine. And I put a few other players that I want to talk about at the bottom. They're not necessarily the most sold, but they are players that people are selling. So Jacob Murphy, yeah, so far no good for him. Yeah. Not great. I think Newcastle in general not great, but yeah, he's probably a sell. Probably we'll leave that there. And then I've just put here Henderson, Mikalenko, and Hall. 3 defenses that I think have been really disappointing. Crystal Palace obviously been really disappointing, so their defenders can potentially be sold. Everton have been diabolical.
Who knew Branthwaite was so good?
My word.
Yeah.
Carried them clearly. And Newcastle, and we're gonna have a look at some. We're gonna have a look at some
that one
numbers
really
on that
me.
as well. What Hall not starting?
Hall not starting really annoyed me.
Yeah,
like I changed my. So I played Solanke last game week.
Yeah,
knowing full well that my first bench would come on. So like I had Hall as first bench right up until deadline, and then I put Rodgers on.
Right.
Just only because of Newcastle's away performances. But yeah, just very disappointing to lose a defender because that's just a transfer out now.
No, I get it.
I'm hoping he gets his spot back.
There's every chance he starts next game week, but I mean, is there any point in chancing that against Spurs?
No, he's not in my lineup at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's talk about midfielders. Let's talk about midfielders because obviously people are selling Nkunku, people are maybe selling Murphy. That's the 2 main. People are selling other players, but those are the 2 main players that a lot of people
are selling. Eze, rightfully so.
No, wrongfully so, terribly so. Do not sell it. I'll tell you what, guys. If you want to sell Eze, sell Eze. But when he scores, it's
in game week 10.
Yeah, I will be here saying I told you so. But yes, midfielder. So we've got on screen a bunch of players that are predicted to do very well according to the Hub algorithm for predicted points. And I thought we'd speak about them as potential midfield replacements. Who's number 1, Sim?
Ezekiel.
It's Eberechi Eze, number 1, highest predicted points in that 5.5 to 7 million bracket. Obviously, like some people are not going to have the money in the bank to upgrade an Nkunku to an Eze, but if you maybe sold Solanke last week, might have a bit of money kicking about. I think it's worth considering as a buy, but I'm not going to do the hard sell on that one because I appreciate he's a difficult player to, sell to people right now.
What's the next 3?
The next 3 for Crystal Palace are Chelsea away. Chelsea...
Tricky.
No, they conceded.
They're defensively not great. Yeah.
Particularly in the first half, looked a bit choppy against Wolves. I thought Wolves were the better team in the first half, and that's Wolves. No offense, Wolves fans.
I don't think I think pushing it to say they're the better team.
Well, I think they deserve to be up in the first half, to be honest. Next up after that is Leicester at home, which is obviously a good fixture. Then Manchester United at home, and then Everton away. That as a run of fixtures.
It's decent for, yeah.
You've got a newly promoted team in there. You've got an Everton team who are in tatters right now.
You've got United.
You've got United who, I don't know, they've... they are questionable at times. We'll put it that way. And that's a home fixture as well. And Chelsea, I'm not convinced by anyway as a defence. They're a super attacking, bombastic team, as we saw last game week.
Okay, let me ask you a genuine question, and I want you to genuinely answer this right now. So you do not, let's assume, you do not own Eze, and you have Nkunku.
Yep.
And you have 0.5 in the bank.
Yep.
Are you doing Nkunku to Eze?
No, because Nkunku's now down to 6.4.
Okay,
so you have put one short.
You have 1 million in the bank. Be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
You'd buy Eze of all the midfielders that are available.
Who else?
I'm asking you.
There is other... If in a lower price bracket, there are some nice players there. But if you have the money to go to that slightly higher price bracket, then yes.
You don't have to force a 7 million transfer. Like you could,
Of course not.
You could come down. So given the plethora of options that are from 7.5, you'll have 7.4, you'll have in the bank.
Yeah.
Would you pick Eze from 7.4 down?
If I had the money in the bank, I would go for Eze above Smith Rowe. I would go for Eze above like a Bailey. I would go for Eze above Semenyo.
That's insane.
Gibbs White.
That's crazy.
Yes, I would.
That's crazy.
Yes, I would.
I would definitely get like Smith Rowe, Semenyo. I'd probably even go on Burma over Eze.
Well, let's talk about some of these other options. So Bailey is second for predicted points in this price bracket. He's 6.5 million. I'm not totally convinced by this one, but the fixtures are really there for Aston Villa. Like, they're insane. So you can understand why he's high on the predicted points right now. Then we've got Brighton and Burmo, who has a nice fixture up next against Southampton, then City. But then it's not so bad after that. They play Spurs, which, again, I do think is a reasonably good fixture. West Ham at home, Wolves at home, then Manchester United away in 8.
Yeah, they get really good from 6, innit?
Yeah. But if you can ride out Man City away in game week 4, maybe you've got like a Rodgers on your bench or something to cover game week 4, I think Mbeumo is definitely a solid pick. And I'd put him in the same category as Eze.
Yeah, I would definitely be prioritizing Mbeumo over Eze.
Would you?
It's literally just that Man City fixture, which is annoying. But knowing Mbeumo, he'll score in that.
Very good possibility.
Like, it's just that kind of thing that happens.
Yeah.
But no, I really like Mbeumo. I think he's great. He'll definitely come into my team if I wildcard in Game Week 6.
He'll be. I think he'll be in most of our teams at some point. You know, you got those penalties. You know, he's like the most advanced guy listed as a midfielder, playing as a pretty much a striker. I won't say he's playing as a striker, but pretty much. So he's looking good. After that, Kaldu Mitoma against Arsenal this week. You're probably not gonna buy a Brighton player, to be honest.
It's a timing problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, really, really, really high on Mitoma.
Yeah, understandandly so. Looks really good. Semenyo, really interesting one.
That's my favorite.
Yeah? 5.5, by the way.
Yeah, he's genuinely my favorite. I really like him. So I posted about him today. So he didn't play up front in Game Week 2?
No. Evan Nilsson was playing up front.
Yeah, missed that. But yeah, no, he's up front in Game Week 1. So I'm guessing he'll have some times when he's up front, sometimes when he's not.
I don't know. Now Evan Nilsson's signed, I think he'll mostly play up front. But I don't think it matters too much because Semenyo is still very much in the central attacking areas.
Yeah.
So
no, but like really high on Semenyo and just really high on Bournemouth as well.
Yeah.
Like I thought they would do okay without Solanke. Clearly they are. Really high on him. I think he could be the best 5.5 and top 3 in terms of 7 million down.
He's a little bit riskier than your Smith Rowe because I think the masses will go for Smith Rowe naturally after last game.
I think Semenyo's better than Smith Rowe.
Do you think?
Yeah. Like Smith Rowe's good. Like is Smith Rowe's data even good?
Not particularly.
Like not shocked by that.
But we haven't had enough like weeks to really make a good judgment on that.
Yeah.
Semenyo's data is good, by the way.
Yeah.
It really is.
I'm not knocking Smith Rowe. Like Smith Rowe's in my team. I think he's an excellent option.
Yeah.
But I think it's like this.
Yeah. Like close.
Very
fair enough. Okay. Well, there's some other players that maybe the predicted points aren't backing as much, but they are worth talking about. So we've got Morgan Gibbs-White, 6.5 million man. Obviously scored at the weekend. Penalty taker. Fixtures are reasonably good. We've got Wolves up at home up next, then Liverpool away, then Brighton away, Fulham at home. The next fixture's good. After that, little choppier, particularly with those away fixtures against Liverpool and Brighton. But people seem to like Gibbs-White at the moment. There's some Gibbs-White hype. Feeling it?
I've never liked Gibbs-White.
What, as a person or as an FPL?
Come on, man. I have no personal issues with anyone other than
me.
Other than you, obviously. No, really, I've got no personal issues with anyone, right? But I've just never liked Gibbs-White as an FPL pick. He's never done it for me. Like he really gained a lot of hype towards the end of last season. A lot of people love him. Obviously, he's on pens and stuff. There's certain players who I don't like, despite them being on pens. That like a lot of FPL heads love, and Gibbs-White is one of them. I've just never got it. He's not a huge attacking threat.
And like, yeah, I just don't get it. For me, maybe it's like I've got a bias towards it. I just know. It's just never been for me.
He has historically he has been a difficult FPL asset to own, like quite inconsistent in that way. But I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
We'll probably skip over Madueke because we'll speak about him in our Chelsea section. We've got Smith Rowe, who we kind of already touched on. He's kind of your safe guy at 5.5. If you just want to go with the herd, go with the pack.
Pause.
What?
You touched on Smith Rowe.
Whoa! What do you mean by that?
No, Smith Rowe, yeah. I mean, he's brilliant. I think he's a very safe, not safe, but he's a very standardized pick now.
Yeah.
I think in that price bracket, he's one of the leaders.
And finally, we've got Rodgers, Morgan Rodgers. So 5 million man
Brilliant.
in your team,
In my team.
in my team as well.
He's brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely dominated you guys.
but is he an FPL kind of brilliant, or is he just a brilliant player?
I think he's blurring the lines. He plays really high. Obviously, very tricky fixture against Arsenal, but he should have had at least an assist in that game.
For sure.
If Ollie Watkins decided to finish his dinner. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna start playing him like permanent.
I will say the data does not really back Rodgers so far.
Yeah.
So far this season, he's taken 5 shots, 2 in the box, 0.3 XG. So over the whole season, he's doing worse than Eze.
Was it 0.3 per 90 or per the whole season?
The whole season, 0.3 XG so far in 2 games.
Wow.
The expected assist is 0.15 as well with 4 key passes. So
There's no way he had 0.1 XA.
one big chance created.
XA is dodgy if that's the case.
It might be
How
the
can
data hasn't
XA
updated, yeah.
say that chance that he created for Watkins was not less than 0.2.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's probably a bit harsh on it. But no, we've got one big chance created here, so it might be that my XA data is not quite up to date, but I'm sure that will change through the week. But yeah, I at 5 million, he's a steal for sure. And if you have an 8th attacker already in your place in your team, if you've got like a Smith Rowe or a João Pedro who you're kind of rotating in and out, you're happy to rotate in and out of your team with Rodgers, then I think it works. But I don't think I would buy Rodgers if my 8th attacker was like Winks or like Stewart's of Southampton.
Yeah.
I think Rodgers makes a fantastic 8th attacker to rotate in and out on those good fixtures.
Yeah, this is sort of the dilemma I'm sort of dealing with at the moment. 'Cause I've got 8 attackers where Rodgers is the 8th at the moment, and I'm messing with the idea of just pulling all the cash out of Solanke
Okay.
and making Rodgers my 7th attacker essentially,
Oh.
which I'm kind of comfortable with.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I definitely recognise Rodgers as his ability as a football player, but I think we need just a little bit more. Just see a little bit more before we can be convinced.
yeah.
But
Well, that's why I'm not doing it this week, right?
Yeah.
So I'm rolling my transfer this week so I can assess. Get
For sure.
get a bit more information.
we need more information. But there's huge potential there. I don't think anyone is doubting that at all. All right. We're done midfielders. Let's do forwards briefly. If you've still got Solanke, you're looking to replace him, who you're going for. These are the players that the data favours. Watkins, Havertz, Nicholas Jackson, Muniz, João Pedro, and Mateta. Wissa and Cunha are after that, though, but I don't think we'll talk about them too much. We spoke about Watkins already. Kai Havertz, if you can afford him, then it makes sense.
Even Havertz, man, the fixtures are so bad.
I mean, are they?
Yeah.
Brighton,
And then,
Spurs, City.
and then.
This gets good. It gets good after City. It gets very nice. So Arsenal after City play Leicester at home, Southampton at home, and then Bournemouth away.
Okay, so after City's fine, but the next 3 is Brighton, Spurs, and City. I don't know if I want Havertz for that, man.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's not exciting. That doesn't fill me with any kind of excitement to buy a striker with those 3 fixtures.
He's not going to score 3 and 3 in that period of fixtures, if we're totally honest with ourselves.
The one that appeals to me most off that list, like, unfortunately, is Jackson. And that's why I'm like so... that's why I want to pull the money out of the position. Like, how is Jackson the best of the bunch? Watkins, decent, expensive. A lot of people aren't going to get there from Solanke.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to get to Watkins realistically at this stage in the season is by pulling Haaland down.
But if you downgraded Solanke last week, then you'll have enough money now to upgrade Solanke to
No, that's not how it works.
Imagine if it was though.
I thought you were being serious for a second. I was like, what?
Right. Muniz.
Yeah, Muniz do not like it at the moment.
Why?
Just don't like it.
He was good. He was so unlucky. He was so unlucky game week 2.
You know what?
7 shots.
You know what? If FPL was a game of pick out the player who's unlucky most, you'd be the champion.
You know what? You're so right.
Because that's not how it works.
7 shots, all in the box. 0.58 XG. This is just in game week 2, by the way. 2 key passes in there as well.
Yeah, I
That's,
mean,
that's decent, man.
JP I prefer. He's decent. It's just
Arsenal away.
the fixture's not great, and then I don't know. I'm still a little bit concerned about minutes for João Pedro.
I'm less concerned about minutes than I am with position on the field, because prior to Welbeck coming off, he was very much playing as like a midfielder.
Second striker.
I think that's generous. I think second striker is generous. I think João Pedro is going through the Joelinton transformation.
Turn him into a CM.
And I mean that as I mean that as an absolute compliment, because he was brilliant. But he was brilliant playing a lot deeper.
He was deeper than you'd expect him to be. Yeah.
The question is Welbeck, if Welbeck plays less minutes, then João Pedro will get more minutes in the attacking areas,
But why
maybe.
is Welbeck not up here?
Because rotation, I guess. Rotation concerns, which
Yeah.
are very valid with Rutter. Like, I think Brighton fans have already fallen in love with Jorginho Rutter.
They've just signed a player for 25 million, and like, if they're willing to spend 25, this is going to be the next Maradona.
Is this the what's his name? Gruger? I can't remember his name now. It's really annoying me. Hang on, you keep talking and I'll find him.
Well, either way, João Pedro I think is decent. He's probably better than Muniz in my books, and then Mateta is the only other one on the list, right? But Mateta again, there's just something off about Crystal Palace. I don't want to dip my toe there.
I think they've been good so far. Gruder, by the way, is his name.
What position does he play?
He's an attacking midfielder, really.
Good João Pedro's position. João Pedro's position. I don't think Danny Welbeck is going anywhere. By the way, like he's going to keep starting games.
Yeah.
So it's that you're not if you buy João Pedro, you're not buying Brighton striker.
Possibly not.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're so right in the sense that there's not really much there, is there, in terms of forwards at the moment?
No.
Unless you can get to Watkins.
Yeah. And even that is not like inspiring right now.
No.
You know what I mean? So like this is why I want to pull my money out the position.
Fair enough.
Like I can utilize that 4 million elsewhere. No, sorry, 3 million elsewhere. Much better, I'm sure. Like, I'll be able to get Palmer into my team. I'll be able to look at Trent. I'll be able to start considering Salah. Imagine buying Watkins and locking yourself out of all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm not a fan of the position.
I get it. And I partially agree. I think Muniz is probably my favourite from that list, outside of Watkins and Havertz, who obviously we mentioned are kind of maybe unaffordable.
Muniz went up in price, having not actually returned yet.
I know. Unreal.
That is ridiculous.
The fixture swing goes hard. Anyway, let's talk about defense. And I've looked up the defensive numbers from the Premier League so far this season to see what everything kind of looks like. And obviously 2 game weeks, I'll keep repeating this, it's not enough data to create like solid opinions necessarily. But what I think was interesting is that even though Newcastle have only conceded 1 goal so far this season, it's an absolute miracle that is the case. An absolute miracle.
What have I told you about 5-letter data sets? This is NPXGA. What does the A stand for?
Non-penalty expected goals against.
Oh my God.
So
expected clean sheets is not good enough.
No. Non-penalty expected goals against is the best metric.
Well, you're right. Newcastle, clearly this is a big problem there. I'm really surprised by how low they are.
So they have 3.9 non-penalty expected goals against so far this season. They are conceding so many chances, and that excludes the Bournemouth goal that was disallowed because it came off the wrong part of the shoulder.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
which I thought was really harsh on Bournemouth. like I say, I think they were the better team. So it's a miracle that Newcastle have only conceded 1 goal. So even though people may think, okay, I have a Hull problem because he didn't start last game week, I think the problem is actually a little bit deeper in the sense that Newcastle so far have been shocking. They're conceding so many chances.
Yeah.
And against a better team, they're gonna be very much punished.
Who put up loads of XG against them?
Who didn't? Well, Southampton in game week 1, they put up, I think, well over 1 XG in that game. And then Bournemouth, I watched the Bournemouth game in full. They had so many chances to score. They were all over Newcastle. They really, really were. Maybe, a lot of credit has got to be given to Bournemouth because they have looked really, really good.
Semenyo.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I rate it. I rate it. Other defenses that are kind of maybe not looking so hot right now that we are invested in, Everton, people with Pickford and Mikalenko, they're sitting second bottom. So, by the way, guys, Newcastle are third from bottom for non-penalty expected goals against. Everton are second bottom. Only Ipswich are behind Newcastle and Everton on that particular stat so far. Which
Ipswich have a...
And in Ipswich defence, and they have had, it's 5.2 non-penalty expected goals against so far this season.
Okay, so it's Liverpool and City, though.
In their defence, Liverpool and City. Yeah, I get it. But given the fact that Everton and Newcastle have actually had good fixtures and they're all the way down the bottom, what's the excuse there? What's the excuse?
Yeah. No, Brighton, very high up.
Brighton are a solid defence.
They're the 5th team on the list and the first that are Oh, wait. Nottingham Forest, 3rd on the list.
Yeah,
Do my eyes deceive me?
No, Forest have had favourable fixtures, though, in fairness. Brighton haven't had particularly favourable fixtures, and they've done very well.
Yeah.
They're average fixtures, maybe. Fair play to Brighton. Another team worth speaking about is Fulham. I know a lot of people looking to buy Fulham defenders. I have to say, if Robinson hadn't have got that assist, we would be having a very different conversation about Fulham defenders, I think. But he did get the assist, and he could have had another.
And he just faked up some extra bonus as well.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow. I think Robinson is good for his attacking impetus, but let's not beat around the bush. Fulham are not a particularly solid defence. They're sitting at 6th bottom so far this season with 3 non-penalty expected goals conceded. And that brings us to Crystal Palace, who are, 8th? 9th?
No.
Worst? So 11th best?
Yeah. 11th, I think.
So 11th best, 2.9 non-penalty expected goals against. That's mid-table. Have they just been a little unfortunate to have conceded 4 goals from 2.9 expected goals against? That's an underperformance.
Oh, these X5-letter data sets, man. What does that mean? Why is 2.9 NP XGA, but then the XGC is 2.82? It's a rounded number.
It's rounded number, yeah.
Why have they rounded up 2.81?
I don't know.
It should be rounded to 2.8.
Look, I just report the data. I don't write the data.
And they haven't had a penalty against them. This is why you can't trust 5-letter data
Oh,
sets.
come on. It's a difference of 0.09.
But there's... Okay. I'm not... all I'm saying is Crystal Palace defense obviously are... I think this proves what I'm saying, that Crystal Palace don't look right. Because last season, they were the 4th best defense.
Yeah, but they're not actually conceding that many chances in comparison to a Newcastle or an Everton.
No,
so I think it's harsh to
no.
put them at... people are considering Crystal Palace as one of the worst defences in the league.
No,
they're not.
I don't think anyone's putting it that harshly, but we're saying that they're a bottom half defense.
Yeah, okay,
which means that on average, you're expecting them to not keep a clean sheet, which was not what we were seeing last season. When on average, we were seeing them keep a clean sheet. Not only that, be a top 5 defense. So that's what the data's showing to me. It's not. I hear what you're saying, that they've been slightly unlucky in that they've conceded 1 extra goal than they should have. But
more than 1. 1.1.
Oh, now we care about small points, yeah. No, the point stands, right? They're not Wolves and Chelsea and Villa are better, and Southampton are better defenses than them.
Yeah, this is one I wanted to highlight actually. Southampton are 8th best so far
this is why I don't back the triple captains on Haaland for that game.
That's fair. That's fair. But in fairness, like Southampton did have that game against Newcastle, 10 men, and maybe last game week, which was against Forest. Having seen everything I have seen from that game, Forest could have scored a fair few goals in that game, and they didn't. So maybe reserve our judgment on that one. But the numbers are good. They only tell us so much. So maybe everything we just spoke about is completely nonsense information, useless. We should just throw it all out.
Liverpool, very interesting though. Very interesting.
Yeah, Liverpool top, Liverpool number 1, Man City second, Forest third, and Arsenal fourth, currently with our 2 game weeks worth of data. But we have to finally talk about Chelsea players because this happens all the time. Oh my word. So if a team wins by a large margin, everyone will go crazy about them, particularly early season where people are at their most reactionary. So what we've got is all of the Chelsea attackers. So these are the Chelsea players competing for 4 spots in the Chelsea attack. Left wing, right wing, striker, attacking midfielder. Palmer is the first player on that list. Okay, Palmer is playing every game. So now we're down to 3 slots. Palmer can play in a attacking midfielder or a right winger. I think he's preferred an attacking midfielder, to be honest, going forward, which does put Nkunku into doubt a little bit more, which is one of the reasons I've sold him. But okay, consider that Palmer is playing every game for Chelsea. We now have 9 players to fill 3 positions, and each of these are genuine competitors for minutes. And those players are Nkunku, Madueke, Jackson, Enzo. I know people say Enzo plays deeper.
He plays 10.
He often plays 10 for Chelsea. Neto, Gui, who has been playing in Europe and been playing pre-season, looked pretty good so far. Highly rated player. João Felix, Mudryk, and Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall not on the list.
You wouldn't count Dewsbury Hall?
No, he plays 8, and he came on as 8.
But will he play 8 every game? I put him in the kind of similar category to Enzo.
8.5. Okay.
8.5. Like, it's halfway between 8 and an 8 and a 10 is 9, by the way, but it's not a number 9.
Obviously not a number.
Doesn't quite work. But no, I definitely consider him a player who can also play in the 10. It depending on the fixture, and the same can be said about Enzo. So even if we just want to ignore, Dewsbury Hall and Enzo, if you want to be really fussy, you want to discount those players, we've still got 7 players competing for 3 positions on the pitch. That's ludicrous.
No, it is crazy. And I mean, I don't think it's 7 competing for 3. If you want my take on it, I think Nicholas Jackson is nailed.
Really?
Who else would play up front?
Nkunku? João Felix?
João Felix is not. João Felix would never play up front.
Didn't he come on as a striker in game 2?
Didn't he come up as a 10?
No.
I must have missed that then.
Well, it's difficult because everyone was attacking. Everyone was a 9 really in that game. But he came on for Jackson.
He came on for Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, missed that. But I still don't think João Felix will be considered as a number 9 for that role. That would be bad management if you ask me. But whatever.
Well, maybe not long term, but we're talking about the competition for minutes, not necessarily who will play more than whoever else.
So
right?
I'm thinking about starting rather than minutes at the moment.
But Jackson doesn't start every game.
I think Jackson starts every game.
Really?
Yeah. That's opinion.
Fine.
But okay, so if we assume Jackson does start every game, let's assume he starts 75% of the games.
Then now we're down to 2
positions. We're now down to 2 positions
for 6 players. Conservatively, 6 players.
Yeah. And then you start drilling that down a little bit more. Realistically, there's only 3 players that are in consideration, arguably 2 for the left wing position. Pedro Neto.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Mudryk.
Yeah.
And apparently Nkunku plays left wing.
Well, yeah, I don't see that happening too often. I would say João Felix is in there. Didn't he play there for you last season? For Barca?
Different system though, right? So João Felix was there for a box midfield. He was there as like a false winger.
Okay.
So I would say that there's one position, realistically, that the people that are competing for include Nkunku, Enzo Fernandez, João Felix, I don't think Goose starts enough games.
No.
So there's 4.
Well, yeah, he's another potential striker just to get some minutes, right?
I think it's those 4 players competing for one spot. That's my take on it. So don't touch any of those 4.
Right.
If you want to... dude. What's his name's not here?
Who?
Oh, no, Madueke is right there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So then Madueke is also... There's 5 players competing for one spot.
So this is right wing.
It's any of the positions, right? If depending on where you play Palmer.
Yeah.
So here, okay, we'll do this again. I'm saying Nicholas Jackson gets almost all the starting games playing up front.
Okay, let's assume he starts every game.
Assume.
For argument's sake.
Yeah. I'm saying Cole Palmer will start every game.
Yep, I think that's fair.
And I'm saying one of Mudryk or Pedro Neto will start left wing almost every game.
Yep.
Yeah? So what does that leave? One position.
One's position which could either be through the middle or on the
right.
right, depending on where Palmer's playing.
Exactly. And you got Madueke, you got Nkunku, you got Enzo, you got João Felix.
Felix there as well.
Competing for those 4 spots. And I'm sure there's one more person I didn't mention again.
I
Nkunku.
think you mentioned him.
Nkunku, Madueke, Enzo, João Felix. Okay, it's 4. 4 players for one position. So those 4, in my opinion, you can't talk to them until they lock down a position.
Yeah.
You then can't also talk to either Pedro Neto or Mudryk because they're sharing a spot.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us down to
Palmer and Jackson.
And maybe Jackson.
Depending on how you assess his minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Madueke is interesting, but like he's okay. Madueke is in the same boat as Pedro Neto versus Mudryk. I won't put him in the list with the other 4.
Okay.
Because he's got like more argument.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the point isn't that Madueke won't start most games. I think the point is that if he plays 60% of games, which would be if there's 4 people competing for one position and Madueke gets 60% of that, that's brilliant for him.
Yeah, okay, not for us.
But as FPL managers, that's useless.
Yeah.
That's useless. And people will be saying right now, well, Madueke, he just scored a hat-trick. Surely he's going to play next game. Great. Great for game week 3. What about game week 4? What about game week 5? You're not just picking, unless you're planning on wildcarding very, very soon, you have to think about these things long term. And Madueke is the exact kind of player who you bring into your FPL team who very quickly becomes another Nkunku, right? That we're all now looking to sell.
Yeah.
So if you do want to take that risk,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stop you.
Yeah. To add as well, Maresca's like clearly experimenting right now, by the way.
Absolutely.
It's like the 2 wingers different in game week 1 to game week 2.
Even in their midweek European game, again, completely different setup there.
Yeah.
So there's experimentation. And until things are settled and solid, it's going to be very difficult to call it. But that said, if you think Madueke is the next Lionel Messi and he's going to explode and play every game for the rest of the season, then that's a valid opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe not Messi, but...
I would give it one more game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I just want to see a little bit more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not saying that it's impossible and that it can't happen. I'm just saying that based on what we have right now, it's not enough.
Yeah. My final position will be if in game week 3 we see a front 4 of Neto on the left, Madueke on the right, Palmer through the middle, and Jackson up front, and they win, then I will invest.
Convincingly, winning look like the better team as well.
Yeah. Then I will be considering investing.
Yeah, okay. And with each game week that goes past, I think it will become more and more convincing. If you want to be an early adopter of Madueke, that's fine. But right now, you've got to acknowledge the risks at least. Right. We've still a little bit to talk about, Sim. There's so much to talk about this week. It's
a very
amazing,
interesting game
isn't it?
week.
It's so
Very
interesting.
interesting
It really is. All right. So people are speaking about wildcarding this week. So what I have built for us today is an anti-wildcard team. A team that contains the players that are worth wildcarding for. Because I'm seeing so many people, they're wildcarding because, I've got Eze in my team. He didn't do any points yet. I need to wildcard to remove Eze. Grow up. But there are a lot of players who genuinely, can be sold right now.
Okay.
So let me read you out this anti-wildcard team. And guys, anyone listening, if this sounds like a lot of these players are in your team as well, then you're definitely in a position where you might want a wildcard. So, goalkeepers are Pickford and Henderson, 2 defensives that are underperforming right now. In defense, we've got Walker, Hall, Mikalenko, Kwanzaa, and Barco. Barco having left the club, Kwanzaa, some injury issues there and some rotation issues with Hall and Walker. These are all valid reasons to sell players and valid reasons to wildcard players out. In midfield, we've got Bruno Fernandes and Rashford. I'm maybe being a little harsh on Bruno there, but given them the next fixture is Liverpool, I understand it. We've got Nkunku, Rodri, and Jacob Murphy in midfield, and up front, Solanke, Tony, and Darwin. Now, if you've got 4 players from this anti-wildcard team, then I think, that's a good reason to wildcard.
Or maybe a push. Because
Really?
you can sell 1 player and have a good 11, right? If you have 4 players.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think if you've got Barco, Kwanzaa, Hall, and then 2 of the front 8, you have good enough reason to wildcard.
So maybe 5 of this.
So
team.
5 in total.
Because these are all very popular players, by the way.
Yeah.
These are not just, I have not just picked these players out of nowhere.
Yeah.
These are players who are highly owned and not maybe the most desirable right now.
Yeah. Also, it depends on how much, if, for example, you have 4 of the defenders, then I would wildcard again.
Yeah, because it's much more difficult to fix that by benching players, right?
Yeah. So if I had 3 or 4, I would probably use a transfer or 2. If I had 5 or positionally multiple in one position, then I would also hit the wildcard. Or if I just didn't like my team, I don't want to be the wildcard police.
No, of course not.
Well,
actually, I do want to be the wildcard police.
That's what I'm saying.
I actually do want to be the wildcard police.
This is wildcard police. So, what if you have you have Solanke, you have
he's there.
Yeah, so I'm starting with Solanke. So you have Solanke, you have Ollie Watkins, and you have Mateta, for example.
All right, yeah, Mateta you could throw in there as well. Sure. But what I take issue is with people who say, I really need to wildcard. I've got Solanke and Isak in my team. I can't deal with having both of these guys.
Yeah.
That's a small problem. Fix Solanke in 1 transfer. Isak's fine against Spurs. He's maybe not dream team,
I hear it.
but he's up there. He's still, I would say, most likely to be one of the top scoring forwards in FPL over the next few game weeks. No? Spurs is a good fixture.
That's a very complicated thing to say. It's difficult.
Spurs and Wolves in the next 2. I think if Isak doesn't score a goal in those 2 fixtures, I will be incredibly surprised.
Will you sell him?
Would I? Yeah, sure. If Isak doesn't score in the next 2, I'll send him. Yeah, as long as the data continues to be poor, because as I said earlier, it has been poor so far.
Okay.
But there we go. There's some wildcard policing for you guys. It wasn't really intended to be police. It was more like it is intended to try and encourage people that maybe actually your team is not as bad as you think it is.
Agreed. I think you're right in what you're saying. I just think occasionally you look at your team and you think, I just don't like these players, and they're not big problems, but I just want to.
If you've got a lot of that, then yeah, sure. But if half of your team looks really good, and you've got a couple of players that,
and you got a Kwanzaa and Solanke, and now you want a wildcard, and an Isak, and you want a wildcard. Yeah, no, I get it.
yeah, but wildcarding out players just because they're not necessarily your very favorite players, and they're only in your top 3 players rather than your very favorite, then the wildcard could be held maybe for a little longer. But anyway, with that done, I think we need to do differential of the week. We've been podcasting for a while, so we'll try and do this fairly quickly.
You got away with murder this week.
Okay.
Absolute murder.
Let's talk about differential of the week. So our game week 2 differentials, you went for Rico Lewis, and I went for Kaoru Mitoma. I feel like you are super unlucky to not have at least 6 points. I mean, he had that chance to score.
He had a 0.6 XG shot.
Yeesh.
And he smashed it. And I think it's higher than that. It was an open goal and it was 6 yards out. He smashed it into the crossbar.
I mean, I tell you what, if it was picking who was the most unlucky player, then I think you've got it on this one.
Beat me with my own stick.
Yeah. But no, you were super unlucky with that one. Like I told you last week, I really rated the pick. I kind of feel bad taking this one off you, but went for Mitoma, 6 points, 1 assist, 1 bonus point. Not too bad. Looking good though, Mitoma, and to be fair, looking good, Lewis as well. So fair play to us, but I have taken the lead on the table for us. So yes, 7 points for me, 3 points for you so far this season. Let's see what we've got this week, starting with you, Sim. Who you got for us?
It's the return of the Mac.
I can't believe this. I can't believe you're bringing back Trossard for another spin.
If I held my nerve after game week 1, I would have beat you this game week, number 1.
Yeah, you would.
And number 2, I would have come here with the smuggest face that you've ever seen.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Pick the same differential every single week?
No. I'm picking him this time because this time I believe he will start.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I understand what's happening, but I think Arteta is being given reason after reason after reason to just play Trossard, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know why. It's like Ten Hag with Rashford. Like, just stop it. Just stop it, man. Stop trying to revive the guy's career. So I think Trossard starts 2% on. Brighton is, well, I thought it was a good fixture. But
I don't think it's that good.
Apparently the data says that it's not anymore.
It's like at home for an attacker, I think it's like an average fixture.
Yeah. But Arsenal do the business. I think that's what I'm gonna go for this game week.
Yeah. No, I don't hate it, but you're going to hate me for my one. Do you know who it is?
Is it Jamie? I don't know.
You're going to hate this. Okay, so
You can't do that.
I can do that.
You can't do that.
I can do that.
No, because I'm going to check his ownership
It doesn't matter what the ownership is now.
It's 5%. It has to be 5%.
5% or less.
Yeah, so I'm going to check now.
So you think since I selected him like 2 hours ago, he might have gone up to 5.1%?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ensure.
No. I'm not remaking the graphics.
You will
I've
have
chosen.
to. You will have
chosen.
to. If he's over, I'm sorry, if he's 5.1, you are in for it.
Oh, come on.
Oh, it's 5.0 still.
He's still 5. Okay, so my differential of the week is Brian and Burbo, who is currently at 5%. And our rule is we have to pick a differential for the week, 5% or less. So he passes. Southampton at home is the fixture.
I hope you know that's cheating.
It's not cheating at all. It's within the rules of the game. You went for Rico Lewis.
Cheating.
You went for Rico Lewis.
Cheating.
Just picked a cheap defender for a good team who plays for like against a weak team.
I picked a very attacking defender.
Oh, well, what are we going to do? I'll pick like whoever's going to play at left back for Arsenal each week because they just happen to be low owned because they're probably not going to play the following week.
I should have gone for Timber.
Yeah, if you went for Timber this week, it's the same. It's the same. At least I'm actually going for attackers every week.
Okay, so what are we saying from now on? It's got to be midfielders or forwards.
No. You go for your jammy little.
I like
defender.
my strategy. I like my strategy.
It's a good strategy, but we're gonna beat you.
Let me know in the comments if this is cheating.
It's not cheating.
Personally, I think this is not in the spirit of differential games.
All right, it's maybe not in the spirit, but I want to win.
It's like picking Salah when he randomly just became low owned for some reason.
No.
Do your thing. We'll see. I still trust Trossard.
When you picked Rico Lewis last week, I thought, okay, I've got to be a bit smarter with this. So we've gone for Brian and Bowman 5. Yeah, I think this is good. I think we're on for a winner here. But yeah, guys, let us know who you think is going to score more FPL points in game week 3. Trossard.
Just take the dub.
Or Brian and Burmo.
Take the dub.
But remember, it's scored based on
points.
So, like, if, Trossard gets a 9-pointer and Burmo gets a 10-pointer, it's like nothing for the course of the season. But whatever. One of us blanks, we're in trouble. Okay, so to finish off the show, let's look at our teams. First of all, Sim, how'd you get on last game? We know you triple captain Haaland. We know it's good. How good was it?
I was a Centurion.
Yeah? How many points?
We hit 102 with the extra bonus point from Rhea pushing us up from 101.
Oh, mate, 100-point plus week this early in the season, that hits different, right?
It really hit different.
Fair play, man.
Somehow inside the top 200k at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a point when I was like 60k.
That's unreal. Fair play.
In game week 2, I mean, you can't really shout from the roofs about it because it's game week 2, but it feels good.
I bet. Okay, well then, how are we lining up for this week then?
So I've got Raya in goal still, who has been outscoring the Arsenal defenders just constantly. Absolute insanity over there. So keep it coming, Raya. In defense, I've got Gvardiol and Rico Lewis up against West Ham away. Hopefully a clean sheet there. I've got Munoz, who's just been extremely disappointing. A very wasted 5 million I'm finding at the moment. But we'll see. We'll see how long that plays out. In midfield, I've got Bukayo Saka with the vice captaincy. Anthony Gordon. Excuse me. I've got Anthony Gordon. I've got Diogo Jota, Smith Rowe, and Rodgers starting at the moment, playing Leicester.
Yes, the Leicester away for Rodgers.
So Rodgers playing Leicester. Smith Rowe playing Ipswich, which is
away
very
as well.
very good cheeky punts there. And then Haaland with the captaincy at the moment, which I'm very much wavering on actually. And
Really?
then yeah, and then Isak, Tottenham at home.
Nice. You got Solanke on your bench still. You're planning on rolling a transfer currently?
Plan is to roll the transfer. My bench is looking weaker by the minute at the moment. I've got Solanke on it. I've got Lewis Hall on it, who seems to have lost his spot. I've got Ben Johnson, who is playing Fulham at home. And, you know, I was considering playing him, but then you showed me that Ipswich expected goals, NP expected GA assists.
That's the one, yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah, that one. It was very bad, so maybe not, but I got to play Munoz, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it. I think even though Chelsea will probably score, Daniel Munoz always has that chance of attacking returns, and I think that's why you own him. The clean sheets are a bonus really with someone like Munoz. But now it looks reasonably strong, I would say, all in all. I mean, yeah, I don't think there are no real concerns other than Daniel Munoz and obviously your bench, but one defender and your bench players.
Yeah, it's not a cause for concern. I really want to build up 2 transfers as well because I want to have a little bit more freedom with what I do with Solanke. So that's the plan. I think I'm going to sell Gvardiol soon.
Really?
I think Gvardiol's going to lose his spot.
Really?
I really think Gvardiol's going to lose his spot.
Ooh.
I don't want to say lose. I think he's going to get rotated very, very soon.
Oh,
he's less and less necessary to the structure.
He played well though.
He played well, but he's not necessary to the structure right now. Like Ake could do the same thing, and there'll be a game where he'll want Ake's attributes.
But okay, presume Foden comes back into the team at some point, then suddenly Gvardiol's attributes will be very, very desirable. If you're correct in assuming that Foden is never going to play a Premier League game ever again,
I'm not saying that. I'm obviously not saying that. But I don't think Foden comes. I don't think Foden walks back into the team. If he does, I don't think he comes in at left wing. I think it's even less. I think if anything, he comes in at right wing.
what about Savinho?
So that's what I'm saying. So he'll take that spot.
Really?
I think
he's so good.
he could play left wing though.
By the way, anyone asking about Savinho, whatever you want to call him these days, numbers are terrible. Looks a fantastic player. Numbers are terrible right now. So monitor. But sorry, carry on.
Savinho's fun. Do it. But yeah, no. So I don't know. I think the problem with Savio as well is this Foden problem, right? I think Doku or Grealish are much more likely to hold the left wing spot, which means that Gvardiol becomes less and less necessary to be Gvardiol. And that could be Akanji, that could be Ake, that could be Stones, that could be Diaz now soon.
Yeah, but on performances, you would say that Savio has been the standout winger more so than Doku so far this season. No?
Agreed.
So surely it's and Foden is more naturally a left-sided player.
But
so surely it makes far more sense to take out a Doku or a Grealish than a...
De Bruyne has been playing on the left though.
Yeah, but he plays on the right as well. Last season he was like kind of drifting in those right side areas a lot.
Okay, so let's talk tactics for a moment, right? So what Pep was doing before was centre back was inverting up and playing almost like a double pivot with Rodri, or pushing beyond, right?
Yeah.
And he was playing like a box midfield. So Foden would come in off the left. You'd have De Bruyne, so you have 2 advanced 8s, and then 2 holding 6s.
Yep.
But then they were getting mid blocks and getting done a lot, and they were struggling to score a lot. What Pep's done now is, instead of having a box midfield, he's got a diamond. So now Rico Lewis inverts not towards the 6, but he inverts into the 8.
Yeah, the right 8.
So now you have Kovacic, Rico Lewis on the right, Kevin De Bruyne on the left, and then not Kevin De Bruyne, sorry. Well, no, that's not true. That's what. Oh no, I'm wrong. It's Bernardo on the left.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm wrong. It's Bernardo on the left and De Bruyne that's been playing 10, but he's been drifting left, regardless though. So no, you're right. Doku could actually lose his spot as opposed to Sabino. So
Wow. I was not expecting that conclusion to that conversation, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
Let's do my team quickly before we wrap up. Not such a great week for me last week, but the numbers are backing my team still, which is something. No, I've got Henderson in goal, a defensive Gvardiol, Alexander-Arnold and Munoz. Midfield, Saka, Eze, Diogo Jota, and now Smith Rowe, who I transferred in for Nkunku yesterday, day before, to catch the price drop and the price rise in one. Very, very nice. Haaland, Isak, Muniz up front. We are benching Rodgers as things stand. Just don't really need to play him yet. But again, definitely recognise him as a potential option for the future. This is like Rodgers' trial week for me. Like if he does well, then he comes into my starting 11 in game week 4, I think. But I want to have one more look at him. My big issue now, and by the way, I rolled my transfer in game week 1. In game week 2, I've used one of my 2 free transfers. And I think the other issue I need to solve, other than Nkunku, is my double Crystal Palace defense, which is not working right now. I don't think it'll work against Chelsea. I think it will work in the following game against Leicester. But I need to focus more on the now and getting points on the board now, rather than just thinking future. So Henderson is probably going to go. I don't like making goalkeeper transfers, but I've got now 1 million in the bank to go for either Raya or Martinez, who hasn't convinced too much so far this season. But as we know, Aston Villa's fixtures are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I'm not sure what I'll do yet. I'm kind of leaving it as long as possible to decide between Raya and Martinez. But I think that's probably the way I've got to go. The only other thing I could do is just move Munoz up to like a 6 million defender. Maybe I don't really want to go for an Arsenal defender because in the tough fixtures, it's going to be difficult. Maybe I could. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, you're wildcarding in 6, right?
7.
7.
Yeah.
So you can be aggressive.
Yeah.
So I would continue to back against the Arsenal defense and I would avoid a goalkeeper transfer because you're wildcarding in 7.
Yeah.
So why would you waste one of your 5 or 6 transfers replacing a goalkeeper? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, 2 of the weeks will between now and my wild card will be Spurs and Man City.
I mean, I would consider Munoz to Robertson.
I thought about it. But the only issue is I really want Munoz against Leicester. I really want Munoz against Leicester. So I think I maybe hold on to him for that. And then Manchester United after that for Crystal Palace as well, to be fair. So I really like Munoz for his attacking attributes. But if I'm totally honest, we're not seeing too much of it yet. So
it's just really annoying because before, when you had a defender who's either expensive or like mid-priced, who wasn't keeping clean sheets last season, you weren't that fussed because nobody was keeping clean sheets.
Yeah.
Now it's like a popular player gets a clean sheet every game week so far.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe how many clean sheets there have been so far. And I really backed against clean sheets this season by trying to go for attacking defenders. And so far, no good. But, you've got to adjust to new information. And that might very well be what I need to do. So one of Henderson or Munoz will be my other free transfer. And then will be everything resolved and everything will be amazing.
No transfer rolling it?
I don't. There's a chance. I could. If I just cannot make a decision, then if in doubt, do nothing is often kind of what I say. So we'll see. But yeah, I've still got a few days to think about it, thankfully. If anyone's got any suggestions for me, by the way, I would love to hear from you guys of what you would do in my situation because I do have that dilemma still. But yeah, there we go. That is my team.
Very nice.
But that is going to be everything for today. We covered a lot. We covered a lot today.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Guys, if you have enjoyed this show today, make sure you are following, liking, subscribing. I checked, by the way, on YouTube, only something like 16% of people who watch the show are subscribed.
Right
That's
now,
shocking.
Just click it. just click, just move your mouse. Just move your mouse and click it.
Yeah, what if they're on their phone? You just move their thumb.
Move your thumb and click it.
Yeah,
click it.
If you're on Spotify or Apple, 5-star ratings are very much appreciated as well. Follow our social medias. We're banging on TikTok at the moment, so which is always nice. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Any final words from Sim before we wrap up?
Yeah, listen. Good luck, everyone. As Planet FPL James says, play it your way, and yeah.
Play it your way, guys.
Bye-bye.
As long as you don't sell Eze.
As long as you don't sell Eze, or Wildcard, or sell Isak, or sell Munoz, or do anything apparently.
Oh, see you later, guys.
Peace
Bye-bye.
out.